Okay. Once again, good morning. Good morning. And welcome to our celebration of this exciting milestone for public transportation in East San Jose and Santa Clara County. And I am so excited about this groundbreaking. We do have a really nice program for you today, as well as wonderful entertainment and delicious food. And I'm so glad so many of our local community members could be here today, as well as our community leaders and elected officials. Before we begin our program, I just want to acknowledge and thank the Mariachi Tequila for their beautiful music from the bar there. So we are here today to officially kick off the construction of the 2.5 miles of light rail train service from Alum Rock Transit Center to the Eastridge Transit Center. And if you did drive down the Capitol Expressway today, you could see some of the construction already beginning. You know, we started planning this project more than 20 years ago. And there were many people here with us today who were critical in keeping up the drumbeat of support for this extension. I want to offer my gratitude for that steadfast support, because that is what has allowed us to get to this point with shovels in the ground. The extension here is going to be part of VTA's Orange Line, which currently runs from Alum Rock to Mountain View, with a station at the Milpitas Transit Center, where you will be able to transfer to BART service throughout the rest of the Bay Area. The extension represents an important lifeline for so many of our residents in our city who rely on public transit in our everyday lives. It will open up a huge new array of options for where you can go on public transit from here in East San Jose and bring residents from throughout Santa Clara County and the Bay Area here, and be able to access other opportunities throughout the region. We actually started work related to this project several years ago in multiple phases. And if you've been in the community, you've seen them. In the fall of 2012, we worked on the new street lighting and better pedestrian access and improved safety along Capitol Expressway. Then in 2015, we finished improvements to the Eastridge Transit Center with new shelters and other amenities. And now we're starting work on the actual alignment that will transform Capitol Expressway into a multimodal expressway, offering bus rapid transit, light rail transit, and safe connections to the regional transit system. We expect this project to take approximately 4 years, as we added an elevated track along the stretch of the roadway, and we are excited to celebrate our move forward today. So I want to get into the program, and first and foremost, I forgot to say who I am. I'm Carolyn Gonod, General Manager and CEO for Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority. And I've been with this agency for 26 years now, just with a 2-year hiatus, but I have been watching this project forever and was a great supporter in trying to get this into construction the last 2 years, with and heavy support from the people who are going to speak here today. We have lots of people who have supported. We couldn't have everybody speak, but I am so excited about having our first speaker here. So one of our biggest supporters in helping move this project forward, from the time he was a San Jose City Council member to now as a state senator and chair of the Senate Transportation Committee, please welcome Senator Dave Cortese.
Thank you, Carolyn. I kept checking my text messages all morning to make sure the project wasn't canceled. After 24 years, there's a little bit of trauma there. So that said, that was supposed to be humorous and not intended to take away from the celebration and what should be happening, laughter today and joy. I actually was asked to support the measure, like so many other people, just before I joined the City Council in 2001, because the measure in 2000 was intended to kind of check off this box amongst others. The first time, as I recall, that VTA really went out on its own to put a measure out there and become really the first self-help county in the region in terms of making things like this happen. So I was a school board member out here on the east side, president of the school board, and I remember going back and forth to the campaign office over at Valley Title Company downtown, where Carl Guardino and others were working so hard, gathering endorsements and doing all those things you do in a campaign. When I joined the city council then, I kind of thought, box checked off, because everything went well, and I started working on highway interchanges out here. And I just want to mention, this is not about me, intended to give Carolyn Gannott the shout out that she deserves. She was working with Michael Evanhoe at the time. The late Michael Evanhoe was just a legendary transportation person with VTA, who put together major highway projects here for us. Carolyn, I don't remember your exact title, but I just remember that you were the right-hand person making the expansions and the interchanges over here at Tully and Capitol Expressway what they are today. For those that remember, they were just kind of a travesty, and it wasn't part of my mindset that I needed to put a lot of energy into this project, because the voters had spoken, things were happening. We had not yet had the dot-com bust or the later deep recession or any other recession for that matter. And I was a little new to it. I didn't realize the undulations that take place. And we've had to work through that together, all of us, so many of us. If you just listed the members over the years of the VTA Policy Advisory Board, not the VTA board, but just the Policy Advisory Board that have cycled through, that work so hard. You know, people like Nora Campos and our present supervisor, obviously Cindy Chavez, Sylvia Reynes, and others that came over from the City Council to serve, to shepherd this along and make sure it didn't get canceled out. It didn't, fall by the wayside. And so many critics would say, light rail, it's not going to work because there's no connectivity. Well, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you don't connect it to the second largest transportation hub in the entire county, what do you expect? And I want to give a shout out to Senator Jim Bell, because, how many miracles has he pulled off as a local official and then as a state senator to get the funding that was needed for projects like this, and specifically this project. Regional Measure 3 really pulled this project off the junk pile. I don't think it would have happened. I think it would have died right then had it not been for Jim's willingness to include it in the measure and really look at it for the first time as a regional connector to BART. And it is. And that's why I agree so much with our general manager, who now has come along and asserted leadership to close the deal here and make sure this happens, realizing that this is an equity project. And I'm going to say something that sounds silly, but I mean it. If there's no equity, there's no equity, right? If you don't invest out here where equity is expected, then there's no equity. But people who are affluent in this area will ride this line. People will head to Levi Stadium. People will head to San Francisco. People will head to jobs in the tech sector in North San Jose. And people who are transit dependent, obviously, are going to park and ride from right here to jobs and good jobs as well that we'll keep creating. So I am really grateful. I think Supervisor Chavez thought I was joking when she asked me how I felt when she walked up this morning, and I said, like crying. Really, I could cry tears of joy, just because I'm so happy that I've been able to just be present to see this day come along on the backs of so many. I think probably half the people or more under this tent contributed, real blood, sweat, and tears to make this happen. It's not a project that any one person would ever take credit for, and probably that's the way it should be. So thank you very much for having me here, having an opportunity to speak as the Senate Transportation Chair, following again in the footsteps of Senator Bell. We'll make sure that all of San Jose and Santa Clara County's projects, all of VTA's projects, get the necessary attention that they deserve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator, for your support and your leadership, particularly in this community. And I do want to also thank and actually recognize someone he just recognized, which was the former Senator Jim Bell. Not only did he authorize the regional measure, a big part of the regional measure 3, but also he was part of Senate Bill 1, which has also helped put funding into this project for this community. So I want to give a big hand. He's in the back there, and thank you very, very much. He's been a huge supporter for this. And our next speaker is the board chair, but I actually want to recognize our whole board who is here. They can't all speak because we have a number of them here, but I do want to recognize who is here. They can wave. Vice Chair Suds Jane. Oh, no, I'm sorry, wrong one. Sergio Lopez. I have these in the wrong order. Sergio Lopez. We have Suds Jane here from the city of Santa Clara. Rosemary Kamei from the city of San Jose. Mayor Comer Montana from the city of Milpitas. Council member David Cohen from the city of San Jose. Council member Omar Torres from the city of San Jose. I'm trying to think, oh, and Mayor Mahan from the city of San Jose. Sorry, he's speaking later, so I didn't actually, I didn't see him. He wasn't sitting with the rest of the board members. I'm sorry. And so I actually, the board has been really supportive. We were able to move this project into construction this year, and that has been the hugest milestone that we have been really trying to attain in many, many, many years. So I really want to thank the board's support in bringing this project forward. Thank you so much. And so probably one of our longest champions for this project in improving public transportation, not just throughout this area, but throughout the county, but in particularly for this extension. She's currently chair of our board. She is an MTC commissioner. I want to welcome Santa Clara County Supervisor Cindy Chavez. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Today has been 20 years in the making. I mean, it's a very powerful period of time in our county's history. And as I look out, I see so many amazing faces that made today possible, and I want to say thank you. I want to start with a very special thank you to the neighborhood leaders who made this happen, who've been really on us to make this the best project ever. And if you are a neighborhood activist who's been playing a leadership role, could you stand up for a moment or raise your hand? Danny, get up. And I saw Sandy over here. Sandy, wave. She's not even paying attention to me. So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. We just heard from Senator Cortese, who has been one of the champions for this project throughout his elected life. And Dave, today I learned that was started with the school board. I didn't realize that. Your leadership, your effectiveness, your stick-to-itiveness, your persistence are just so important. We really would not be here without you today. I also wanted to, let's give him another round of applause. He got us funds, and by the way, he served on the MTC board, which was no small feat to make sure this project was included in so many, many levels. Had he not been there with a friend named Jim Sparing, we would not be here. There's so many people you could say if they weren't there, we wouldn't be here, and he and you are certainly one of them. The other I just wanted to lift up again is Jim Bell. Jim Bell, you all know Jim, and people know that he's kind of an activist for a lot of different things, everything from behavioral health to transportation. But Jim, I see standing in the back there. Let's give him another round of applause for making sure that there was money for this project. He really did an amazing job. I'm so sorry that former Supervisor Blanca Alvarado isn't standing up here today. She's fine. She's at home, and I'm going to ask all of you to do something with me for in just a moment. But the history of this project is a history of risk, and I think Dave was not wrong. The number of times we had to fight to keep this project either through funding, prioritization, or strategic investments was overwhelming. So this project was actually voted on in the first Measure A in 1996. And then, well, it wasn't the first Measure A, it was the first self-help Measure A and Measure B in 2000, and Measure A in 2000. And I say this because she had been fighting to protect this project even when VTA, this wasn't Carolyn, but even when VTA tried to scrap it, she threw her body in front of it and said, this is going to happen, and it's going to happen for this community. So what I want to do is we're going to do a quick video, and I'm going to have you all at the count of 3 say, thank you, Blanca. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, Blanca.
Thank you all. I also wanted to acknowledge Magdalena Carrasco, Nora Campos, Javier Campos, Sylvia Arenas, and many, many others who served on the oversight board. And I know some of them are going to be speaking today. And I think, Omar, maybe you served on it. No? Peter and Domingo. So thank you all for doing that good work and staying on top of it. Just one other person that I wanted to thank, in addition to Carl Guardino, who's led all of these measures. Let's give him a big round of applause. I know he's not here today, but wouldn't have happened without him either. So neighborhood leaders and staff, I wanted to have everybody look at Ken Ronci. Where is Ken? Ken Ronci, get over here. Come on up. I'm going to embarrass you for just a moment. Being a public servant is one of the most honored and glorious experiences that I've had in my life. Besides being a mom and getting to marry Mike, it's really the highlight of my life. It is one of the most challenging jobs. It's even more challenging when you have a project that you're in charge of that every other year someone's trying to end. And that neighbors have feedback on, and the elected officials have opinions about. And Ken, give him a round of applause. I never saw him lose his temper. He deeply listened to the neighborhood. He listened to the staff. And really, he was one of the guardians of this project. Thank you. Now, you all understand how important this 2.5 mile, this extension is. It will be connecting residents in the east side of San Jose and all over San Jose with the busiest bus hub in the county. This transit center is just waiting for more people to get to it, and light rail is going to make that possible. Over my shoulder, you see that the county is still holding strong on on ending the Reed Hillview Airport to make it something that belongs to the community in 2031. This is going to be the most important hub in the region outside of Diridon. So, colleagues and all of you, I'm going to accept this Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority acknowledgement on behalf of the Board of Supervisors. I thought it was, kind of impressive that one of my colleagues thought this was such an important day that they wanted to make sure we had this commendation, but it made me think about the fact that Blanca from the Board of Supervisors really led this, so that's very poetic. The last thing I want to say is to Carolyn. There are many, many, many leaders that we've had leading the organization. The single leader who has loved light rail more than any other has been Carolyn Gannott. So Carolyn, congratulations on today for you as well. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Supervisor Chavez. Okay. So, when any transportation agency takes on an endeavor like this, it's critical to have as much support as possible and from as many sources as possible. And County Supervisor Sylvia Arenas has also been an outspoken voice on improving services in East San Jose, and she serves on the EBRC Policy Advisory Board. But she was unable to participate in today's program, but I want to just let you know she does have a resource table here as well, so if you'd like to visit it, that would be very nice. And Vicki Lamb for her office is representing her today. But Also, as a transit service provider with VTA, we're also the congestion management agency. So that means, in addition to running the buses and the trains and all paratransit service, we plan things and build things that will help us move around this county and this valley a little bit more easily. So our next speaker is also a member of the board of directors and is mayor of the city of San Jose. Mayor Mahan has been a supporter of the work we're doing to improve mobility, not just in the city of San Jose, but also throughout Santa Clara County. He sits also as an MTC commissioner, and we welcome San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan.
Thank you, Carolyn. 2.5 miles may not sound like much. 13,200 steps may not seem insurmountable. But if you've ever taken a walk in the hot sun with a bag of groceries in one hand and a child in the other, you know that this connector will be life-changing. It will connect buses, BART, greater connectivity to Caltrain and ACE, but it will do a lot more than connect transit. It will connect people, neighborhoods, community. This is about connecting people to greater economic and educational opportunity, to the greater Bay Area. From east to north and back again, our diverse communities will have greater access to this vast city and region. This investment will reduce our dependence on cars, help with traffic congestion, reduce emissions, make life better for everyone. And it fulfills a promise to our East Side residents 2 decades in the making. A community that has faced decades of underinvestment, both broadly, perhaps especially related to infrastructure. I think it symbolizes a new era for our city, one focused on equity by reducing barriers and providing and proving with action our dedication to ensuring opportunity for everyone in our community. So as you heard from the senator and the supervisor, there are a lot of people to thank for this project, literally generations of leaders, starting with Blanca Alvarado and all of the community leaders who fought and advocated to stand up and say, we deserve this investment too. That baton was then passed off to leaders like my former boss, Jim Bell. Where's Jim? I saw him walking around. I think he's hiding in the back there. There we go. He's got a hat and glasses on, incognito. Leaders like Senator Cortese, Supervisor Chavez, who have been just tireless advocates for bringing more resources to our community, particularly our underserved community. And by the way, I just got a up-close experience of that most recently when a proposal would have pulled dollars out of Santa Clara County, and I had the privilege of working closely with Senator Cortese and Supervisor Chavez to collaborate and advocate and ensure fairness and equity for our community here. So I appreciate their tireless advocacy for our community, especially for our East Side. And then on to a new generation of leaders represented by our vice board chair here, Lopez, and my colleagues on the council. And so the baton has been passed on, and I want to also recognize and thank the leadership, because as elected officials, we can say it's a priority and we can drive the funding, but folks have to actually go do the hard work of designing and building it. So I want to thank Carolyn Gannat and the entire team at VTA. And our partners in labor who are gonna build this thing, and all the staff and everybody who's going to actually execute on this vision. I think this project is the best of what happens when our community, our local, regional, and state leaders come together and follow through on a promise. This means a lot to San Jose, to our residents, our businesses, and our environment. It's an intergenerational investment. It's a sacrifice that we make as a contribution to an overall regional network that will seamlessly connect San Jose to the wider region. It proves we can still do big things, still make big progress, and still sacrifice for our kids and our grandkids and future generations. I'm really excited for this project to come to fruition. Once again, I just want to thank everybody from Blanco Alvarado, to everybody who's voted on the last round of funding and approvals just in the past months. It's just been an incredible thing to see, and I'm proud to be a small part of it. I'll just end with a couple sentences in Spanish and then turn it back to Carolyn. Hoy estamos aquí para celebrar el inicio de construcción del conector regional de Eastridge a BART. Este proyecto es más que conectar el transporte público, conecta a las personas y las comunidades. Nuestros residentes en el este de San José van a tener mayor acceso a oportunidades económicas y educativas al área de la bahía y entre nosotros. Gracias a todos.
Thank you, Mayor Mahan. And you know, it is so important to have such a dedicated board, and we have that at VTA year after year. And so I want to introduce the next speaker, who is one of VTA's own. He was the former VTA chair and a city council member, and has championed our projects and service as the state assembly member ever since. So please join me in welcoming Assembly Member Ash Kalra. Thank you.
All right, are we excited? I know it's hard to keep excitement up for 20 years, but during milestones like this, you get like an injection of excitement when all the hard work from literally thousands of people, you can actually start to see shovels in the ground, right? And as the mayor was talking about batons being passed, I want to give a shout out especially to Carolyn Goodnott. We've had great leadership at VTA that has not dropped this baton that allows us to be here today. And I just want to briefly, once again, thank many of my colleagues, Senator Bell, Senator Cortese, you know, and now Cindy Chavez, Supervisor Chavez being on the MTC board. And just for those that don't understand or don't know, in our state, it's really challenging at times. I know the mayor probably knows this, getting resources from Southern California. Like there's a balancing, it tips Southern. Well, in the Bay Area, that balance tips Northern towards San Francisco and Oakland. And down here, even though we're the most populated state, the biggest wealth producer or county, the biggest wealth producing county, we have to fight and claw for everything. And I'm so happy that we've had fighters at MTC, Dave Cortese, one of the best fighters and champions we've had up there. But and also the fact that we have a Senate Transportation Chair going from Jim Bell to Dave Cortese is a huge boon for our community. And so I mention all that because, you know, when you talk about keeping the momentum going, it's really, really hard. As Supervisor Chavez and others have mentioned, there are many places where this could have fallen through. And these kinds of projects do fall through all the time because it's hard to keep 20 years, 25 years of momentum, even when you kind of get knocked down sometimes. And so I just want to congratulate VTA, congratulate the VTA board and leadership and everyone, the neighborhood leaders that have been relentless and everyone that's played a role in us being here today and actually getting this project started. Thank you.
Thank you. And as I mentioned how important our elected officials are in this process, this alignment passes through two city council districts. City Council District 5, which is represented by Councilmember Peter Ortiz, and District 8, correct, Domingo Gonzalez. And I'm going to introduce each of them to come and speak. First, I'd like to introduce Councilmember Peter Ortiz, who serves on the Policy Advisory Board for this project. Please welcome Councilmember Ortiz.
Good morning. Buenos dias. My name is Peter Ortiz. I have the distinct honor of representing District 5, which is the diverse and beautiful communities of East San Jose. I want to thank you all for joining us during this beautiful moment as we convene to break ground on the construction of the Eastridge to BART Regional Connector Project. As one of the two representatives for East San Jose, I've been able to see firsthand how the lack of investment in public transportation has caused significant hardship for our families here on the East Side. Without reliable options for public transit and the inability in many cases to afford a car, too many residents are forced to walk on dangerous high-speed corridors with inadequate sidewalks or none in some cases at all. It's these conditions that have made East San Jose the epicenter of traffic fatalities in our very own city. And it's important to recognize and remember that today's event could only have been achieved by the persistent advocacy of leaders in our very own community, who fought for decades to improve public transportation in this historically underserved area of San Jose, seeing the regional connector as a solution to this issue. And I know we're going to be hearing from President of the Plata Arroyo Neighborhood Association, Danny Garza, who's here with us. We have Sandy from the Capitol Park Neighborhood Association also present with us. But I also want to highlight our brothers and sisters in labor. We have SEIU in the house, as well as Local 270, La Una. Enrique Arguello has been a labor leader, as well as a resident of District 5, and has been instrumental in the advocacy. And it's true, the Eastridge to BART Regional Connector will give our residents, and particularly our youth and seniors, a safe and reliable way to get to school, to work, errands, or whatever their destination may be. I especially want to shine a light on the Honorable Blanca Alvarado, my mentor and a historic advocate for this project, as well as former State Senator Jim Bell. Can we please have a round of applause for both of their leadership? They've both been giants in advocacy for our community and instrumental for the completion of this project since the get-go. To conclude, the EBRC project is more than just a pipeline. It's a lifeline for our residents. It provides direct access to BART and allowing for socioeconomic opportunities that are often not afforded to our residents here on the East Side. I want to thank everyone, the entire VTA board, the entire state delegation for their continued advocacy, and of course the leadership at VTA for their dedication to all families here in Santa Clara County. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Ortiz. One of the other members of our Policy Advisory Board is here today, and that is District 8 City Council Member Domingo Candelas. Please welcome to the podium.
All right. Thank you, Carolyn. I'm Councilmember Domingo Candelas. I have the privilege of representing Eastridge, where we're at today on the San Jose City Council. Yeah, let's give it up to District 8. You know, having been born and raised here, I've not only have I lived through the history of the project, I've had the pleasure and privilege to actually work on the policy side and on the staff side of this project for a gentleman, I think we may have mentioned him, Jim Bell, former State Senator Jim Bell. So yes, Jim, I am going to give you another shout out because not only are you my former boss, I was in the rooms when the money that we were talking about in Regional Measure 3, RM3, the $130 million to go towards this project, wanted to be taken out, and the ferocious nature of the championship that Jim brought to the table for East San Jose and for our community is something that I live with and something that I try to encapsulate every single day. And for those of you who have been on the room, sometimes on the other side of that ferocity, it's real. And we would not be here today if it weren't for you, Jim. So I love you, my white Theo. Thank you for all that you do. And, you know, and it's not just Jim. I mean, we have former Vice Mayor and former District 8 Councilmember Rose Herrera here. Thank you for your leadership as well in helping push this project. And folks who are not here, Blanca Alvarado, who is also a dear mentor and somebody who has pushed us to look for and invest here. We know the benefits, the traffic relief that it's going to bring to our residents, the improvements in mobility for our East San Jose families, and the future possibility that it's going to bring and the opportunities. We know Things like Lake Cunningham and improving Lake Cunningham are going to take time, but with an improved transit, improved flow of people down here, it's going to re-energize our area. It's going to re-energize our small business community. With the Tully Road Eastridge Businesses Association, I know Christina Bowie is in the house. She's going to speak shortly, but that revitalization and the opportunity here with not just Lake Cunningham, but the future Pleasant Hills Golf Course and the opportunity for our valley here in our community is something I'm really excited for, and to carry the baton, if you will, in the giant shoes of folks like Jim Bell, and not just physically, he's a tall man. But thank you so much, and I look forward to breaking ground today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You know, we really are fortunate to have so many proactive leaders affiliated with VTA, not only on our advisory boards and committees, but our board members have really stepped up in so many important ways as we bring this this project to life over the last 20 years. I apologize, Rose, I didn't see you. You were going incognito as well with the hat and the glasses, so I apologize. But I remember Rose being a huge supporter for this project at VTA while she was on the board, and she has continued to do so. And also, when people talk about Blanca Alvarado, I remember standing in, well, actually I was sitting in front of her. She was up on the podium, or I mean on this chairs, and I was down, and she was talking, and she was very frustrated, and she had a right to be frustrated. We were going back through one of those dips in the project about where we're going next with the project, where the funding was, and she had a right to be frustrated. She was just really expressing, you know, her need and her support for this project, and it just hurt me to be sitting there and listening to her. And we had a conversation after the meeting, and she knew I was doing my job and and I was the messenger of the bad news, and she was the one out there for the community. And I really appreciated her understanding, but I actually understood like why she needed to say that. She needed to keep pushing, and she needed to keep that momentum going. And it really has a lot to do with the community. Here we have a very active community outreach and public engagement program. We call it the Coke Department, to ensure that all our neighbors are aware of the projects being built in the neighborhoods and what the impacts will be to their everyday lives and how we can mitigate those impacts. And I just really want to quickly just recognize two key people and everybody else who helps them out. I want to take the opportunity to recognize Gretchen Baeza. Can you have your team wave so they can see who you are? All right, they're all like around in these booths and wandering around. There's many, many, many of them. And then I also want to give a special thanks to our community outreach supervisor who has been managing this project for the past 12 to 13 years, Kathleen Podrasky, who's here, for not only planning this whole event today, but for all the work she's done to ensure this community is informed about the work being done here. We have a whole team who continues to do that, and I really appreciate it. So thank you, Kathleen, for a great job. But I do want to say, all the work we do with community engagement is because of the community. We have a very wonderful group of elected officials who drive and make sure that we have those resources that we can to build. But if it wasn't for the community continuing to fuel our elected officials and driving us to be able to get what we have, we wouldn't be here. You have the history, you have the drive, because you've seen 20, you know, this has been 20 projects. That's 20 different VTA boards. And you have continued to be there consistently and constantly, letting us know how important this is for your community as we try to drive this project forward. And I appreciate every minute that every one of you have been here. Whether the frustration you express or the joy that you're expressing, I appreciate every minute of it to our team, because we know how important this is. And I do want to let you know, this project is not a small project. It gets lost in the scheme of things with bigger projects, but this is a $750 million project. And it takes a lot. And we've invested in this community over $1 billion with our measures and state and local funding. But are we going to quit investing in this community? No. This community will continue to have improvements that will provide the access to these important infrastructure that we have built, We're going to continue to work with the cities to make sure that the land uses are designed to help support that access to the transit, and to making sure that there are supportive opportunities for jobs, access to education, the ability to go throughout the county and throughout the region. So I really appreciate the community continuing to be there forever. And we're going to have two speakers from the community, which I'm so happy to introduce. The first, I want to welcome Christina Bui, who is the owner of the small business nearby and is representing the Tolley Road Eastridge Business Association. Christina.
Thank you, Carol, for having me here, and thank you, BTA, for having me here today. My name is Christina Bui, and I've been a resident here in East San Jose for 40 years, and as well as a local business here for 35 years. So the light rail connection to BART is something I've not seen before, and this is amazing, right? I'm going off my script here, but this will be a milestone for the mass transit, linking the Bay Area to East San Jose. So this project will benefit us all. It's not just good for the environment by reducing carbon footprint, but will also enrich our community. So as a small business owner, I see firsthand how public transportation brings customers to our doorsteps. So helping unique and vibrant businesses like mine thrive. So expanding our public transportation options will only amplify these benefits, supporting our small business and fostering a strong local economy. So on a personal note, my daughter, who works for the EPA in San Francisco, takes the BART every day to work. So we have to drive her to the Berryessa spot. So right now, if this is built, all she has to do is come down to Eastridge and, hop on the bus, and no longer mom will be an Uber. So public transportation is very important. It's not just important to get from A to B, but it's also connecting people, supporting local businesses, and making life a little bit easier for all of us. And I'd also like to thank you, the city and the county officials, and of course VTA, for championing this project. So your support and dedication are making a real difference in our community. And let's continue working together and for a better and connected East San Jose. Thank you.
And our next and final speaker who has been so very vocal. They should actually stretch that out put it in all caps. They should have put it in all caps, because that's the way Danny writes his emails. And he's been so involved in transportation projects happening in East San Jose, and we appreciate his involvement. Danny Garza represents the Plata Arroyo Neighborhood Association, and he joins us here today. Welcome, Danny.
So I really wasn't going to speak, and VTA said that maybe I should. So I'm here. I love all of you here. You don't understand how much this means to me, seeing this many people here, this many politicians. This fight started long ago. Blanca had an idea, and the money was taken away. But we never stopped. And so here we are today, right? Never tell Plata Arroyo no, because you will regret it. So I've lived in the East Side. I've lived in the East Valley and King and Alum Rock for 66 years, right? Long ago, I mean, look at me now. Right? People are talking at me, talking to me, but I used to pick apricots. And this is where we're at now. When I went to Bellarmine, the summer before I went there, I was picking apricots to buy school clothes. This is what our community does. This is what we're about. This fight here, this support here, this means so much to our community. Local hire is very important. We need to keep our tax dollars and the money that's going to come from it in our community. I don't want to see anybody from Texas working here as a contractor. We have plenty of small businesses that can work here. So VTA and their leadership, right? We've had our controversies with them. But guess what, man? We stopped the project once. We restarted it with community input. Ernesto's over here, Sandy's over here, I'm here, Guadalupe's ill, right? We have Melissa, we have Park Pleasant, Arbuckle. I mean, this is a community issue, and the community took it to heart and really, really, I mean, you don't understand our fight, our heart being broken so many times, right? So I just want to tell you, and I'll end real quick, that the thanks goes to the community that supported us, our politicians, Peter, Omar, Dave, Cindy, Domingo, the mayor, let me see, Rose. And I can't tell you how much Jim Bell meant to me. From the time I met him when I was in junior high at City Hall to now, I think it was a mayor's youth council or something, right? So to now, Jim is just a wealth of information and courage for the community. So if I forgot anybody, Kathleen and Manolo, right? We specifically asked, the leadership group here specifically asked for Manolo. And Manolo is the one that talked VTA into starting over. And let me tell you why we did that. Is because Manolo is the one who helped us shut down BRT when that first contractor was so lethal. No barriers, no protection, no locked equipment. They're storing material on our job unsafely that our children could have played on and then drastically been injured. So let me just end with thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, VTA. Thank you, City of San Jose. And hopefully we're going to get some more Caltrans money into this. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny, for your commitment to our community. So I just want to let you know just how important the community was on that very last piece of funding that was getting allocated at the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. And there was a push by a group pretty much centered in San Francisco about whether we should get that funding. And the community showed up and called in, and speaker after speaker discussed what this project meant to this community. People who were trying to stop the project, who never came down to this area, didn't understand how important this project was, what this meant, and how critical it was, not just to this community, but to the region. And there was no doubt about it, and I want to thank Supervisor Chavez for really helping support a lot of that work, but there was no doubt about it after that meeting, or after your calls, and that committee was voting to put the money into this project, and that was the last piece of funding. So I really want to thank the community for calling in. Thank you so much. Now I want to just make sure I haven't missed anybody, so I just want to let a couple people know that Kevin Lee is here. Supervisor Otto Lee, who is also on our board, was not able to be here, and Kevin Lee is representing him as well. We have Tony Alexander, the president of the San Jose Evergreen Community College District, here as well. And Andreas Quintero, from Vice Chair of Alum Rock School Board, is here as well. So thank you for joining and celebrating with us today. I'm just going to do a public service announcement now. There is an iPhone missing. If found, please take to the registration table. So if you find one, thank you. All right, so I actually want to just extend my sincere appreciation on this last comment is to all the contractors who are going to be out here. Please have patience. There is work to be done. They're going to carry on the construction and deliver a very well-built light rail extension. They are cognizant of the community, and they work very closly with us. We chose MCM Construction and Railworks, which is a joint venture, because they showed the diligence and the experience and the ability to work in communities in a built environment like that. So I'm excited to have them continue to do this work. The construction team at VTA has been working long hours to assure that all the specifications are met. So I want to thank Ben Prasad. He's the leader of this job, and he's standing in the back, for leading a remarkable team, and to Wenlin Yang, Scott Hensler, who is the resident inspector, Johnny Rowe, and of course Ken Ronci. How can we not forget Ken, who has been here through all the trials and tribulations as well. And I want to thank everybody who hasn't been involved. There's a lot of consultants here today, the planning teams at VTA, the real estate teams, the legal teams. It takes a lot of people to get a project to this point, to get it constructed. And I want to thank everybody of my team who has been here and helping work on this project. And next, I invite you to step over to the side while we break the ground. And then please visit the resource tables that we have here today. And we actually have more entertainment, as you probably noticed here, planned. There's dances that are presented by Vovinam Viet Vodao of America and Folklorico Nacional Mexicano, as well as food available with your hosted ticket and for purchase. So please enjoy yourselves, and thank you for joining us today.